Good morning all. Today we will discuss about the displacements of uterus. For the introduction, the uterus is not a fixed organ. Minor variations are there in the position in any direction. It constantly changes with the posture. The female changes with the straining during stool and with full bladder and with loaded rectum. Displacement means when the uterus rests habitually in a position beyond the limit of normal variation. Displacement means when the uterus rests habitually in a position beyond the limit of normal variation. Uterine prolapse. Today's topic is in displacement uterine prolapse. The entity includes descent of uterus. Descent of uterus through vagina. It is in fact a form of hernia. Supports of uterus is important in this topic. There are three layers of supports. First one, upper tier. It is responsible structure endopelvic fascia covering uterus, round ligament and broad ligaments with intervening pelvic cellular tissues. Next one is middle tier. Middle tier, that is pericervical ring. It consists of fibroelastic connective tissue, pelvic cellular tissues. Inferior tier, it consists of pelvic floor muscles, specifically mainly levator ani muscle, endopelvic fascia, levator plate, perineal body and the urogenital diaphragm. Next one, what are the reasons? What is the etiology of uterine prolapse? First one is anatomical factors. Anatomical factors, basically gravitational stress due to human bipedal posture. Human posture is straight. This is the one sort of aggravating factor. Anterior inclination of pelvis, directing the force more anteriorly. Actually, uterus is anteverted and antiplex. Stress of parturition, causing maximum damage to puberectal fibers of levator ani muscles and pelvic floor weakness. Again, acquired में injury to the supporting structure, vagina delivery. What are the causes for the injury? Overstretching of McIntosh and uterosacral ligaments, premature bear down efforts before full dilatation, delivery with prolapse or ventouse, and prolonged second stage of labor, downward pressure on the uterine fundus in attempt to deliver the placenta. These are the main causes during vaginal delivery. Next one is overstretching and breaks in endopelvic fascial sheaths, overstretching of the perineum, imperfect repair of perineal injuries, poor repair of collagen tissues, loss of levator function, levator ani function specifically, neuromuscular damage of levator ani during childbirth and subinvolution of the supporting structures. Congenital causes, congenital weakness of supporting structures, specifically nulliparous females. It is that's why it is known as nulliparous prolapse or prolapse after easy vaginal delivery. These supports are weak, uterine supports are weak in this condition, so it is also called as nulliparous prolapse. Next one, types of uterine prolapse. First one is uterovaginal prolapse. This is commonest one. Commonest type, prolapse of uterus, cervix and upper part of vagina, upper 2/3 of vagina. Cystocele occurs, first cystocele occurs, then it is followed by traction effect on the cervix. Intra-abdominal pressure has got piston-like action on the uterus. Whenever there is intra-abdominal pressure raised, then it will cause uterus a downward motion. Next one is congenital prolapse. In congenital prolapse, there is no cystocele. Often it is seen in nulliparous females, hence it is called as nulliparous prolapse. We have already seen because the supports of uterus are weak, that's why in nulliparous females the prolapse occur. That is congenital weakness of the supports of uterus. Next one is degrees of uterine prolapse. There are first degree, 4 degrees of prolapse. First one, 3 are important. First one is first degree prolapse. The uterus descends down from its normal anatomical position. It descends down from the normal anatomical position and external os, that normally external os is at the level of ischial spines. But external os, it comes down but it comes on up to vagina, but the uterus remains inside the vagina. Second degree prolapse, the external os protrudes outside the vaginal introitus, but the uterine body still remains inside the vagina. and the third degree, it is called as complete prolapse or procedentia. The uterine cervix and body of the uterus also lies outside the vaginal introitus. The uterine body, the cervix that lies, it comes out the vaginal introitus. It comes outside the vaginal introitus. Symptoms, what the patient will feel? Patient will feel that something is coming out of vagina, and while she is moving, something is coming out while walking, specifically while doing some physical activity, and it is relieved by lying down. Backache and dragging down sensation, dragging down pain in the pelvis, dyspareunia. Urinary symptom. The urinary symptoms are because of presence of cystocele. That is, first one, coming out of vagina, that uterus comes out, so patient will something coming out. Again, cystocele, the symptoms, urinary symptoms are because of cystocele, difficulty in passing the urine. More the strenuous effect, the less the effective evacuation of urine. Incomplete evacuation may lead to frequent desire to pass the urine. Urgency and frequency of micturition may also due to cystitis. It may cause cystitis because of urinary retention. Some volume of urine always remains there. So cystitis patient may get cystitis. Again, urgency and frequency of micturition is one of the symptoms. Painful micturition is also because of infection. Stress incontinence is usually due to associated with urethrocoele, that is herniation of urethra. Retention of urine may rarely occur. Retention of urine may rarely occur because there is cystocele. Again, bowel symptoms are there. That is because of rectocele. What are the symptoms then? Difficulty in passing the urine. This is the main one. The patient has to push back the posterior vaginal wall in position to complete the evacuation of feces. Fecal incontinence may be associated. Excessive white and blood-stained discharge per vagina is due to associated vaginitis or decubitus ulcer. Excessive white discharge from the vagina is also common. Blood-stained discharge is also common. What are the changes due to prolapse? Vaginal mucosa becomes thick and dry with surface keratinization occurs. There may be pigmentation. Decubitus ulcer, this is the one of the consequences of prolapse of uterus. A tropic ulcer always found on the dependent part of prolapse uterus. There is initial surface keratinization, then cracks, then infection, then slugging of that infected part, and ulceration is very common. That is decubitus ulcer. Management. In the management of this condition, we have cervical cytology to exclude malignancy, manual reduction of prolapse with the fingers, and vaginal pack with roller bandage soaked with antiseptic lotion, glycerin, and using estrogen cream, specifically in postmenopausal females. That is, it is used to estrogen cream is used. In management, cervical cytology for rule out malignancy, manual reduction of prolapse, vaginal pack with roller bandage. Again, what are the effects on cervix of the prolapse? Prolapse effect on cervix, vaginal part prolapse है तो there is chronic congestion, hyperplasia and hypertrophy. There is chronic congestion of vagina, there is hyperplasia and hypertrophy of vaginal mucosa. Supravaginal part, it becomes elongated due to strain. Strain means because of that prolapse, the vaginal part of cervix, it gets elongated. It gets stressed and elongated. On the urinary system, bladder, there is incomplete evacuation, incomplete emptying of bladder, and it causes cystitis. On ureters, the ureters are carried downwards along with the elongated McEnroe's ligaments. So hydroureteric changes may occur. This is due to the ureters get compressed. Because of that prolapse of uterus, the McEnroe's ligaments get elongated, and infection of bladder may occur. In clinical examination, first of all, we have composite examination, inspection, palpation, vaginal examination, rectal examination, and rectovaginal examination. Vaginal examination for prolapse of uterus, rectal for rectocele, and rectovaginal examination for any fistula. General examination, in general examination we have to see for the pulse, BP, respiratory system, and in general condition to rule out any systemic disease. So in the management of prolapse, we have three measures: preventive measures, conservative measures, and surgical measures. So in preventive measures, good and adequate antenatal care and internatal care is very important to avoid the injury to supporting structures during the time of vaginal delivery when there is spontaneous or instrumental. Adequate good postnatal care is very important to encourage early ambulance, to encourage pelvic floor exercises by squeezing the pelvic floor muscles in puerperal period. General measures to avoid strenuous activities, chronic cough, constipation, heavy weight lifting that increases intra-abdominal pressure, and to avoid pregnancy too soon and too many by contraceptive practices. That means to use contraceptive practices to avoid multiple pregnancies at multiple times, and to increase intra-abdominal pressure. Patient has to avoid these conditions like chronic cough, constipation, heavy weight lifting, strenuous activities. This is preventive measure. Adequate antenatal and internatal care is important, adequate postnatal care is important, and general measures are very important. So in a homeopathic practice, we have to go for certain remedies that cures and that prevents prolapse. The first one is Sepia, the second one is Lilium teak, Murex halonias, Calcarea carb, and Fraxinus americana. These are very commonly used medicines in prolapse. Sepia is chilly patient, that is patient is indifferent. Lilium tick patient is very irritable, and prolapse, third degree prolapse. Murex is patient is having a nymphomania. Again halonias in all degrees of prolapse. Calcarea patient prolapse with fear, right? And Fraxinus americana, this is specific one. This is specific, you can prescribe only for the prolapse. And all these are Sepia, Lilium teak, Murex, all and Calcarea carb are constitutional medicines. So we can treat very nicely uterine prolapse with homeopathy without surgery.